Senna, Schumacher, Hamilton, Verstappen. 4 names, 4 generations. 4 drivers who, at one point or another, have been called the greatest Formula One driver who ever lived. Between them, they have amassed 21 world championships. 2 of them have won 7 titles each, a feat so extraordinary that in almost any other sport, it would end the conversation. To put that into perspective, the next closest active driver has 4. And the list of drivers who have won even 2, it's shorter than you'd think. And yet, somehow, in the most passionate corners of the Formula One world, it is still not enough to end the debate. A debate that I'm pretty sure will leave the comments section needing its own FIA stewards panel by the end of this video. The question of who is the greatest Formula One driver who ever lived refuses to be settled by a number, even a number as extraordinary as 7. Formula One has been running since 1950, and across those 75-plus years, it has produced names so extraordinary, in eras so different from one another, that no single metric, not wins, not titles, not poles, can tell the full story on its own. So today, we're going to try and tell that full story and settle the debate once and for all. Before anyone says it or even thinks it, yes, legends like Fangio, Clark, and Mansell belong in any all-time great debate. But Formula One has evolved so dramatically that comparing them to today's drivers isn't really comparing like for like. In fact, that's a whole other debate in itself.
And Fangio takes the checkered flag to win the German Grand Prix at a record average speed, faster than his own previous lap record.
While the legends of the past absolutely deserve their place in this conversation, today we're going to focus on the drivers whose careers overlap enough that the comparison still feels meaningful. The 4 drivers who shaped the modern era of Formula One. So let's get into it. There are drivers who win because they have the fastest car. And then there's Ayrton Senna. In 1984, in his rookie season, Senna lined up at Monaco in a car called the Tolman, a car that had no business being anywhere near the front. A car so unremarkable, most people today couldn't pick it out of a lineup. And then it started raining. And what happened next has become motorsport mythology. Senna started 13th. Within laps, he was hunting down the championship leader, Alain Prost, in a car worth a fraction of the McLaren ahead of him, closing so fast that race officials made the controversial call to stop the race early. Many in the paddock believe he would have won. A rookie in a backmarker, about to embarrass the best driver on earth. That was the moment the world realized something was different about him. Senna had a feel for a racing car that no engineer could properly describe. He could sense tire degradation before the data showed it. He could describe a corner with such precision that engineers wrote his words straight into the setup sheet. And in the rain, he was operating in a different category altogether. Donington Park, 1993. Opening lap. 4 overtakes in conditions everyone else was tiptoeing through.
Wendlinger is coming up well. Senna is crowded out and is down to 5th position. He's 3rd, and Ayrton Senna is up to 4th position ahead of Schumacher and challenging Wendlinger as they go round the right-hander into the old hairpin. Senna is up to 3rd.
That lap is still studied today as one of the greatest pieces of driving ever recorded. 3 world championships, 41 wins, 65 pole positions. Not too bad, right? But in Senna's era, cars broke constantly. You could be 3 seconds a lap faster than the entire field and leave with nothing because your engine decided Sunday was a perfect day to retire. He lost the 1984 championship by half a point in a car that wasn't even the fastest. Then, on May 1st, 1994, at Imola, it ended. He was just 34 years old, at the peak of his powers, almost certainly with more titles still coming. Michael Schumacher went on to win the race, but the result was overshadowed by the loss of a legend that Formula One would never truly recover from. So why does Senna's name come first in any honest debate about the GOAT? Because almost every driver and engineer who shared a paddock with him says the same thing. They were watching something the sport may never produce again. But raw talent isn't the only way to be great. Sometimes, greatness is built. If Senna was talent in its purest, most untouchable form, Michael Schumacher was something different, the product of pure competitiveness and relentless perfectionism. Schumacher arrived in 1991 and made jaws drop by immediately qualifying 7th on his debut at one of the toughest tracks on the calendar, in a car called a Jordan. In that moment, Jordan discovered they had a future world champion. Benetton discovered it about 5 minutes later and didn't waste any time waiting around. By the next race weekend, Schumacher was already kitted out in Benetton colors, and the move paid off. He won his first championship with them in 1994, and his second came the following year in 1995. He was only 26 years old, with 2 titles already in the bag. And then he did something that made absolutely no sense at the time. He left. He joined Ferrari, a team that hadn't won a constructor's title since 1983, a team in chaos, a team that had become a national embarrassment in Italy, which, if you know anything about Italians and their relationship to Ferrari, is roughly equivalent to a national emergency. Everyone thought he was throwing his career away. Here's what they missed. Schumacher didn't just sign with Ferrari, he started rebuilding it. He brought in Ross Brawn. He worked with Rory Byrne. He spent more hours in the factory than most drivers spent in their cars. He invented the modern idea of what an F1 driver actually does. Not just race on Sunday, but engineer the team into a winning machine the other 6 days of the week. He was the first driver to treat physical fitness like a competitive weapon. He showed up to the gym so often the rest of the grid started wondering if they were even in the same sport. It took 5 years of grinding, 5 years of nearly winning, 5 years of heartbreak. And then, in 2000, Ferrari won. Then they won again, and again, 5 championships in a row, from 2000 to 2004. In 2002, he finished on the podium in every single race of the season. Every single one.
But never mind that, because Michael Schumacher is coming through to take his first win of the 2003 Formula One season. This historic moment when Michael Schumacher became the first 6-time World Formula One champion.
In 2004, he won 13 of the 18 rounds. At that point, the rest of the grid was basically just there to make sure he wasn't lapping himself. Now, here's the part of Schumacher's story almost nobody talks about. Because before the Ferrari dynasty, there was something else. 4 years, 4 near misses, 4 world championships that very nearly were. Let's stop and add it up. Schumacher won 7 championships. But 1997, he gave it away. 1998, pushed it to the wire. 1999, lost it to a broken leg. If just 2 or 3 of those years go differently, and they very nearly did, Schumacher doesn't have 7 titles. He has 9, maybe even 10, and nobody has a column of near misses that even comes close. Nobody. Now let's flip the script. It's 2007. A 22-year-old kid from Stevenage walks into a McLaren garage. His teammate, Fernando Alonso, reigning 2-time world champion. Most rookies in that situation would have been demolished. Hamilton matched him, race for race, point for point, as a rookie. 4 wins, 12 podiums. He missed the championship by 1 single point. It broke Alonso so badly, he left McLaren at the end of the season. Most rookies spend their first year trying to learn from their teammate. Hamilton spent his upsetting one instead. A year later, Lewis Hamilton was world champion, the youngest in history at the time. Then 2013 rolled around. Hamilton left McLaren, the team that had built him, and joined Mercedes, a manufacturer that hadn't won anything in years. The press absolutely ripped him apart for it. And the hybrid era arrived, and Mercedes had built a missile, the kind of plot twist of the century nobody expected. 6 championships in 7 years. He broke Schumacher's win record. He broke the pole position record. He won his 7th title, equaling the man many still consider untouchable. But Hamilton had the best car. Yes, in plenty of those years he did. That has to be acknowledged. But here's the argument that cuts through. The races where the Mercedes shouldn't have won. Turkey 2020, soaked track, undrivable tires, and yet Hamilton lapped the entire field. Brazil 2021, started 10th, won the race. Germany 2018, pit lane start in the rain, climbed to 1st. Those weren't Mercedes winning, those were Hamilton winning. And if the car was really doing all the work, someone probably should have told Nico Rosberg and Bottas. Across 7 seasons as teammates, Hamilton finished ahead of them in the championship 6 times. Then came 2021. Hamilton, deep in his prime, found himself in a fight against a kid in his early 20s who didn't care about the established order. The battle went to the final lap of the final race, and in one of the most controversial finishes in F1 history, a possible 8th title slipped through his fingers. The torch had been passed. 106 race wins, 104 pole positions, 7 world championships, across 18 seasons. And somehow, even after all of that, he finally stood on the top step for Ferrari at Barcelona this year. A historic moment that after last year's performance, many thought they'd never see.
It's more history for Hamilton! Lewis Hamilton wins a Grand Prix for Ferrari!
The only problem? The kid from 2021 wasn't done either. Max Verstappen is 28 years old, and there are people, serious people who've spent their entire lives watching this sport, who will quietly tell you the debate about the GOAT may already be over. Sounds insane. Until you actually look at what he's done.
It's wheel to wheel. Verstappen is ahead. Max Verstappen takes the lead. This is absolutely epic.
Yes!
A bit before he can blast down the main straight and try and break the toe somewhat. Verstappen's got DRS. He's going to try and go around the outside of Charles Leclerc. He does. Max Verstappen takes the lead.
Verstappen debuted in 2015 at only 17 years old, the youngest driver ever to start a Grand Prix, younger than the legal driving age in most countries. He wasn't there for the experience. He was immediately fast and aggressive, making veteran drivers look like they were stuck in slow motion. However, the early years had a problem. The aggression sometimes crossed the line. Critics called him reckless. The stewards called him, well, frequently. Then around 2020, something shifted. The aggression stayed, but it was joined by maturity, race management, and cold-blooded racecraft you usually only see in drivers 10 years deeper into their careers. And the results were devastating for everyone around him. Daniel Ricciardo had once been considered Verstappen's benchmark. But within a couple of seasons, that conversation was over. Then came Sergio Perez, a proven race winner, one of the most respected drivers on the grid, and a driver with genuine front-running pace. By the end of 2023, Perez had become less of a teammate and more of a reference point for Verstappen's greatness. 15 wins in 2022, 19 wins in 2023, out of 22 races possible. Think about that. He didn't just win the championship. He won basically every single race the championship was made of. At one point in 2023, the only person who could realistically beat Max Verstappen on a given weekend was Max Verstappen. Now, of course, Red Bull built him a rocket. That's real. But watch Brazil 2024. Brutal wet conditions, 17th on the grid, and he still won by 19 seconds. Watch Monaco, where he managed his tires across 78 laps like they were the last set available to him for the rest of the year. And here's the stat that genuinely changes the entire debate. Verstappen's career win rate, wins divided by races started, is now the highest of any driver in F1 history, with 50 or more victories, higher than Schumacher's, higher than Hamilton's, higher than Senna's. And he is still just 28 years old. If the next 10 years look anything like the last 5, then the GOAT debate won't be a debate anymore. It'll be over. We just won't realize it for another decade. In the end, there isn't one right answer. It depends on what you value. Raw talent, it's Senna. Complete package, Schumacher. The record books, Hamilton. Peak performance right now, Verstappen. And the scary part is, he's not even close to finished. But if I had to pick one, after everything we've talked about, I think there is an answer, and I'm going to give it to you. And for me, it's Michael Schumacher. Not only because of the 7 world championships, but because of how he built them. He walked into a Ferrari that hadn't won a title in 21 years and helped transform it into Formula One's dominant force. He used his unstoppable speed, unmatched work ethic, and undeniable leadership to build one of the greatest dynasties the sport has ever seen. And that's why, for me, he's the one. But now it's your turn to decide. If you had to bet everything on one driver, in equal cars, on a wet track, with everything on the line, Who are you choosing? Drop it in the comments.